So I'm going to try and focus on the positives today with that like diaper thing in the middle. I don't like that. I just turned on my car. Materials are not great. Why is that? I don't understand. Is that a GT4 RS? What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by Autobahn. My name is Max, and today I'm going to take you around the all-new BMW M5 Touring. Well, it's not really all new anymore. It's been around for a while. Martijn made a review in Germany with the sedan and the Touring, but I think the Touring was a pre-production car, and there were still some things that had to be sorted out. Oh, that's the limiter? What? What was that? It held back for a second. So today I'm going to take you for a drive in this gorgeous M5 Touring. I'm going to say it. I am not a fan of the way the new M5 looks. Still not a fan of the way this looks. However, in touring form, I think it works way better. And I would even go so far as to say that I like it. I think it looks cool. It's just we call it a beuker in the Netherlands, or I do. It's like just a thick, badass car, and I quite like that. The front is super aggressive, of course, with that front bumper, and now I think the rear just works better. So today I'm going to show you around it. We'll take a look at the spec as well, because it is gorgeous. I'm not going to go too much in depth because I already made a review of the M5. Click in the top right corner if you want to watch that one, the sedan version. Today I'm going to focus on what makes this car the one to have, because this is the one you have. And after that, I'll take it for a drive towards the Autobahn for an Autobahn blast. So, let's have a look at the spec. As I said, you have that super aggressive front bumper with that lower part to suck in all the air, makes it look very aggressive. And we've got this Goodwood pearl metallic green, which is super nice. It just suits the car really well. It's a shame that you get, as standard, you get the shadow line, and I think this has extended shadow line. I think on an M5, at least in the Netherlands, you cannot have chrome trim. So you cannot have like a chrome grille and chrome window trim and stuff like that, which is a shame, because put silver wheels on this thing and then all the regular like silver trim, I think this would look crazy good. So spec wise, I think it helps a lot. This looks cool to me. You've got the black wheels, which is a shame, but 20s at the front, 21s at the rear, and behind that we've got carbon ceramics, absolute must-have on this almost 2.6 ton car. Pirelli P0 rubber, 285s at the front, and that's the most important part here. As I said, it's a shame that you don't have silver wheels, because I think the color with silver wheels would be really cool. Optional carbon fiber mirror caps, black roof. You cannot have a carbon fiber roof on this car. I read somewhere that it is too long and that BMW couldn't find enough pieces that were this big and got through quality control, but Alpha N is probably going to release one of those this or next year. It is a shame though, no carbon roof. Would have been a cool touch. At the rear, as I said, we have these 21s, and this is a, what is that? A 295. Oh, it's not even that wide. It's a 295. I was expecting something like 305, but 295s and ceramics again, of course. Then you get this spoiler, roof spoiler for the Touring, which also I think looks good. And then the rear is just way different compared to the sedan. I think this looks so much better. It is the same length as the sedan, and you don't even gain that much trunk space. So it goes from something like 466 liters to 500. But of course the space you have is much more practical, and of course you can lower the rear seats. Then you have a big loading area, but it's not that big. It's not like something equivalent to like an E-Class, but it is much more practical than the sedan, and it looks better. So it's a no-brainer for me. Then, because you have the two-part diffuser with that like diaper thing in the middle, which I also think looks better on the Touring, because you have that sort of that line that goes up and is more narrow at the top. It goes down and is more wide, and then it goes down again like that, and it just makes more sense to me. I still don't really like the design. However, I do like the fact that because you have that, you can have a tow hitch which stows underneath here, which is pretty handy. Quad tailpipe exhaust and a much bigger body here. It's something like 43 millimeters at the rear, 75 at the front if I'm not mistaken, so that's quite a lot. And then of course the engine S68 4.4 liter V8 bi-turbo, 585 horsepower, 750 newton meters of torque. You add to that some e-power, 197 horsepower, 280 newton meters of torque. Add that up, 727 horsepower, 1000 newton meters of torque, 0 to 100 in 3.6 seconds. Top speed 305 with the optional M driver spec. And even though this is an individual color, so it's like 6,000 euros, you don't get the sticker anymore. Where is it? They've been doing that for, I don't know, 40 years, and now suddenly they stopped doing that. Why is that? I don't understand that. Some things you just have to keep doing. Don't stop. It adds to the brand value, in my opinion. I just want to have that BMW individual sticker right there. I had to go and check the VIN to find out that this was Goodwood green, which I think is stupid. And then the interior, which is not my favorite part, for a couple of reasons. Number one, well, I just found out if you hit start, you start up in hybrid mode, so it doesn't really start up, and then you release the brake because you want to, I don't know, talk to someone or do something, turns off again. I don't like that. I just turned on my car. Why does it decide that it's no longer needs to be turned on? That's just annoying. Stop it. So let's go to that one then. Okay, so interior wise, as discussed in earlier videos, I really don't like the interior. I think it's a massive step back compared to the G30, the previous generation. If you have that in like an individual spec, it is just walks all over the interior in this car. There's a lot of plastic going on. They took a step back in a lot of ways, so materials are not great. This is not great. You don't even have a speaker in the door, a beautiful speaker in the door anymore, like they used to have with this Bowers and Wilkins audio. It just, there are so many things. These buttons here, it just, yeah, it's not great. Steering wheel as well. I mean, what is that? It's so hideous, so chunky and big and present. It doesn't need to be this. It dominates my view, and I don't want that. But I've complained about this car a lot in past videos, so I'm going to try and focus on the positives today, because with this touring you change two things. One, as I explained earlier, it's way better looking, like 10 times better. It's just, it completely transforms the look and the presence of the car, in my opinion. And two, you expect something different from it, and that's the most important thing, because when I drive an M5 Saloon, I want it to be two things: a comfortable long distance Autobahn cruiser, and something that when I get to a nice road I can enjoy. It's rewarding to drive. It's just, that is what an M5 is, and it just, the new one is not that. It's too heavy and too complicated and too fussy to be that. And with this touring, that's not what you expect. That's not what you want from it. You want this to be a big, comfortable, everyday car that you can use, that's practical, that's fast, and that's basically it. And this recipe of this new M5, it fits the touring much better. That doesn't mean you still, you know, you can still slide it around. It's still a hooligan when you want it to be. You can put it in rear wheel drive and it will do massive skids. But all of a sudden, the weight is just such a less important factor, because you have a touring. It's 50 kilos heavier than the sedan. I don't really care about that. You know, it's just... I don't really care about that. It is already a big, comfortable family car. So just by adding that little bit at the rear, something clicked for me, and suddenly this is a car that I now think, you know, is a very good car and I could actually live with. apart from the fact that I don't really like the interior and all the like the nanny systems and everything that comes with modern cars, and especially BMW with all the stupid menus that don't make sense. But you know, all that stuff seems less important now because I like the car in general. I like the recipe, and the approach makes much more sense to me in this car. So yeah, that was quite a surprise to me actually, that I suddenly quite like this car, while the regular sedan I was like, I couldn't wait to just give it back because I didn't care about it. It was a bit disappointing, and also it left me unsatisfied. Launch control. There we go. That's 3.6, which it also does. So yeah, it kind of does everything. It's still really heavy and you still feel the weight, don't get me wrong. You're still managing the weight, but because it's a touring, it's just less important. And I also think that this car is at its best, it shines when you drive it at like, you know, 75–80%. You don't extract everything from it, and when you do that, it kind of rules. It's a really impressive car when you do that, because just the point-to-point speed and practicality combination is great. So there's still a lot of fake sound being pumped through the speakers, and my testing person in the rear, we always use a test mannequin, so I put him in the back. There he is. He said that when he drove the touring the first time in Germany, there was like a resonance, an annoying sound coming from the fake sound in the rear, and it's still there. So yeah, fake sound, don't do it, just ditch it, it's better for everyone. M mode, sport. All right, so let's take it to the Autobahn. We're going to go in the opposite direction because it's Labor Day today, and that means that all the Germans in Germany are going to the Netherlands. I don't know why this is just a thing. Caravans, campers, RVs, people with bikes on their car, you know the type, they're all going to, holy moly, it's completely empty behind me. They're all going to the Netherlands today, so we are going in that direction.
But before we hit the Autobahn, let me talk to you about Carly. Carly is a handy OBD device that plugs into your car and can do tons of things. Now, for instance, this M4 F82 had severe power loss and it just sounded weird. So before I called my mechanic, Max told me to check it out with Carly, with the smart mechanic. Now, the smart mechanic told me we had an air leak somewhere. And when we checked the charge pipes, so that's where the charged air from the turbos go to the engine basically, we saw that one of the charge pipe was just loose, and that's why it sounded weird, and that's why we had a loss in power. So I expected a huge bill from my mechanic, but thanks to Carly it was just one screw and we were back in business. And then using Carly, I also discovered you can do coding. So with coding you can activate or deactivate certain features of the car. Features that might not have been there from factory but have always been hidden in the software. Certain options like auto folding mirrors. I now have them. How cool is that? Unbelievable, just by coding. I also plug it into my G20 M3 Ti and discovered that I could code in the M3 speedometer, which was also super cool. But you can also deactivate certain features. For instance, I deleted the active sound in this BMW M for fake sound. I want the true sound to come in the cabin, not some tune that's been played through the speakers. And what's also cool, especially if you do your own maintenance, like brakes and oil, stuff that can be done by anyone, I think, and can also save you a lot of money. You can access the maintenance log and adjust your service logs. So you can just enter, okay, I just did oil, I just did brakes, and the iDrive system will adjust accordingly. It's also a very handy device on test drives. So if you're looking at a second-hand car, bring Carly, plug it into the OBD port, and it will check the mileage for you. So with Carly, we saved a ton of money and made the car better through the coding feature. So if you also want to use Carly, use code AUTOPNL25 to get a 50% discount. Link is in the description. Enjoy the video.
Okay, so full throttle from like 100 kilometers an hour. You can see how well it picks up. It's still a fast car. I mean, adding all that power to that weight is one way to make it feel less heavy than it actually is. They also added, you know, rear wheel steering, and the throttle mapping is really sensitive. The steering is quite sensitive as well. These are all things that they did to make it feel more agile and to cover up that weight. And it works. I mean, to a certain extent, it doesn't feel like a 2.5 ton car. So on the Autobahn, of course, that's not when you're going to feel that weight. It's stuff like this, when you start braking and you notice the weight that's coming behind you, or turn it in here and the tires start squealing. These are P0s though, which are quite squealy to begin with. But it is an aggressive car, and I do like that. I think they did a good job in setting that up, because it kind of makes sense. When you want it to be a hooligan, it can be. You do feel that weight, but it's hidden well enough that it doesn't bother me. And that is a difference. In the sedan, it did bother me. I was constantly focusing on why I didn't like it and what it was that bothered me so much. I was trying to pinpoint it, and driving this, it just makes sense. This is what it's supposed to be. They're also selling the M5 Touring in the US now. They didn't do that with the M3 Touring. I'm glad that they did, because I think this is a car that will get a lot of people out of SUVs and into this, because this is just so much better. It's much cooler, it drives better. And if you have a spec like this, that tops it all off for me. Is that a GT4 RS? Nice. Don't think he wants to play. No. Let's go. Bye, buddy. So it is fast. I mean, just look at that. It just keeps pulling. Especially like 270. It's quite impressive. And again, I think my mind is again like playing tricks on me, that it makes sense like this. It makes sense. I get it now. I get this car. I don't get the sedan, I get the Touring. Okay, so let's find out if we can get close to the top speed. Together, there he goes. I also quite like the brakes in this car. The regen versus like pad on disc transfer is really good. You don't really feel that. And also the what is it, like 16.8 or 18.6 kilowatt hour battery. It charges up really quickly. So you have the M hybrid settings here. The top two you get because we have the M driver spec in this car, but the e-control thing charges up the battery really quickly, so that's nice. I like that. But I mean, can you imagine going skiing or something like that with this car? Just absolutely nailing it all the way to Austria or whatever. It's just, it would be great. I think this is a very, very good car to do that. And I think that is what this car is. And you should not expect anything else from it. And that is my mistake maybe for expecting something else from that M5 sedan. It's just a big, very heavy, but also very fast and comfortable cruiser, and just Autobahn beater. And that's what I meant when I said this recipe makes sense with this body type. It's just a match made in heaven. Bit of space here, maybe. There we go. Top speed, close to it anyway. 311, that's good enough for me. Oh, look at those brakes. That is awesome. Carbon ceramics are definitely a must-have, because you do feel that weight, like it's, oh, you cannot get away from it. It's so much mass, but those brakes doing a fine job there. So there you have it. I don't think I've ever had this much of a difference, like in liking and in appreciation between two cars, between the two same cars in a different body type. But it just completely changes the car, and I get it now. So that's it for this video. Back at the border, fun is over. Thank you so much for watching. If you're looking for an M5, get this one, get the Touring. I assure you it will not disappoint. You can subscribe by clicking the big button in the middle. You can also check out this video, this playlist, and I'll see you at the next